How's everybody doing? Thank you for showing up. Hey, Coach. Coach, where you coach at? JJ, what's going on, baby? Okay. Long Island legend on. Croc, what's going on? Joe, what's happening, man? Hey, mama. Now, Kimani's a great dude, man. That's why we got him on. Great dude. Mom, thanks for coming on. It's going to be some good information for your son. You guys aren't going to be disappointed when we have this conversation with him, like I said. Excited to have him on. That's huge. It's coming, Joe. It's coming. Ron Golson. My boy G Unit. Duke, what's going on, baby? Tarek, man, good job. Good job tonight with the City Rocks live feed. Keep it up, man. Thanks for your continued support. So, I want to take this time to welcome everybody to the Positive Impact podcast on IG Live tonight. My special guest is a guy who I met a while back. Always been a great guy. Always worked hard for the kids. One of the best basketball minds I've been around. An up and coming assistant in the game, already there, and definitely will be a head coach in this game. One of Queens' finest. And I want to introduce you guys to Kimani Young, assistant basketball coach at the University of Connecticut. See if we can get him on here. All right, I just had him on. Where you at, Kay? Reese, what's going on, man? UNLV commit, young boy. Kay, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
What's
Terrell, what's
happening?
going on? Hold on.
Ain't nothing. Ain't nothing, man. You the only one I know, man, that's
All right.
looking good through this pandemic right now, man. You cut your own hair, man?
Yeah, man, I'm my own barber, man. You know, the bed's coming in, but, you know, we trying to stay as clean as possible, man.
No, I feel you. Listen, man, I'm so happy that you came on, man. I told you, I've respected you for a while now, and everything that you've done for kids and everything that you're doing in your climb to where you're at right now. I truly feel like you're one of the good ones in the game. Much respect for everything that you do.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. We've known each other a long time. You've watched the grind, you know what I mean? You've
Yes,
watched it, you know what I mean? So to be here with you today it's a blessing, you know what I mean?
appreciate
Got
you,
my
man.
man Duke
Appreciate you.
Duke starting with the jokes already, man.
You know how Duke is,
That's
man.
my man Duke starting with the jokes already, man. I learned from you, champ. I
You
learned
already
from you.
know. You already know, man. So
Yeah.
we're gonna jump right into it, man. Like, let's go back to your background, man. Let's go back to Queens, man. Came out of Forest Hills, you know what I'm saying? All city in '92 and took your game to UTEP, man. Take us back through your early years, man, and who put the ball in your hand, who were your early influences. Let's give us some background on Kimani Young. We got some technical difficulties. Hmm. All right, we're gonna get him back on. We have some technical difficulties for a second there. I see Asia get on here. What's going on, Asia? See if we can get Coach back on here. See if we can get him back. Juan, what's up, man?
There we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, take us through those early years, man.
Yeah, man. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I was born in Harlem. You know, I was born in Harlem. I grew up in Harlem. We moved to Queens. You know, so I started playing in Harlem. You know, a lot of people don't know that. Some people think I'm from Queens. Some people think I'm from Brooklyn. Um, Born in Harlem. You know, that's where I first picked the game up. We moved to Queens. We moved to Left Rack City. Um, you know, just being around Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith. Um, you know, that's kind of like those are the two people that had the biggest influence, along with Vincent Smith, who's Kenny's older brother, who was, you know, he was our mentor, and he's the one that kind of you know, just galvanized the community. We came up in a program called Aim High, which was literally made up of players from two places. You would in the early years, you were either from Left Rack or you were from Queensbridge.
Mm-hmm.
That was it, you know. And back then, it was different. You know, there was only two major AAU teams in New York. You know, you either played for Riverside or you played for Gauchos. Other than that, you were on neighborhood teams, CYO teams. Um, you know, Aim High was formed. You know, Brooklyn USA programs like that were formed, and that's where it kind of branched out. But you know, that's where I started playing. It was a basketball community because of guys like Kenny Smith that we were able to see. You know, from junior high school, playing in the park, high school, Archbishop Malloy, and then on to North Carolina into the NBA. So when we saw that, we were like, oh no, he's from the same place we're from. He's doing the same drills. His coach is my coach. And we all felt like, we could walk in his shoes. Kenny Anderson came up right behind him. And watching him, that was somebody that, we idolized, and he had a tremendous influence on me and a lot of other guys from the community. And it was tremendous experience. I played at Forest Hills High School. You name that. My coach, Erwin Iser, he was like he was from the same neighborhood, Forest Hills, which is right across the bridge from Left Rack. It was a basketball program that he put a lot into. We didn't have a ton of resources, but you knew you were a part of a team. He coached us hard. We played a tough schedule. We always played in the top tournaments. We played against the best players in Brooklyn and the Bronx. You called it. I was an all-city player in '92. Seems like yesterday, but it's still relationships that I foster to this day.
Nah, I appreciate that. Nah, that was all right. So you got out of Forest Hills, and the legendary Don Haskins said, "Listen, man, we need you to come out here to El Paso for free and play this game and help us, man." What was that like playing for him?
Yeah, funny story, man, about that. I went to LIU my freshman year.
Okay.
My freshman year, I went to LIU downtown Brooklyn, and that was an experience. I was a late qualifier. I didn't qualify till the end of my senior year and through summer school actually. And they offered me a scholarship. It was fine. It was Division I. I had built a great relationship with the assistant coach and the head coach. It was New York City. It was downtown Brooklyn. So that was my first experience. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. On that team was Tiny Morton.
Okay.
The great Tiny Morton.
Okay.
We had a guy that was an all-league player, Joe Griffin, who wound up being player of the year. We had Brian Gaffney. Dave Banjo, who was a coach and AD at Pratt.
Yeah.
It was a cast of characters, if I want to say it. I did play with Tiny. And funny story about him, I was 17 years old when I went to college, and we were on a bus ride coming back, and I was having a fairly decent freshman year. I averaged 11 points as a freshman. And he was like, "Look, this ain't the first stop. This the last stop for any real players." You know what I mean?
Right.
So you need to have a good season, and you can transfer. And that's what I did. I was, I had a good freshman season. I was able to transfer, took some visits, and I wound up going out to Texas, El Paso.
Okay, that's what's up. I see Bino on here today.
Yeah, that's your man. I didn't know y'all played together, man.
Yeah, we played together in New Hampshire, so we known each other for a minute. So I saw y'all on today. Shout out to Bino coming on here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you go out to UTEP, 1,000-point scorer at UTEP, come back home, and let's talk a little bit about coaching with the kids. So I know about S. Dot, I mean, that great team of young talent that you had, when they were younger, and then the Aim High, and then obviously over at New Heights. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, had a great college career. I was there 4 years. I enjoyed every minute of it playing for Coach Haskins. That was a great experience. I developed a love and passion for the game that I didn't necessarily have as a player in New York City. I think you get a little spoiled. You get a little spoiled playing, and you just play so much. You play, all day in the park. You play in tournaments. You play in summer camps. But going out there and playing at a higher level and seeing how big it was.
Right.
That program was rich in tradition. They have won, countless, they won a national championship in '66.
Yeah, Glory Road.
Have won, countless conference championships, NCAA tournaments. They had went to a Sweet 16 2 years before I got there. Beat Kansas. It was a storied program that you really wouldn't know about. And once you got out there, every game sold out. He was an icon in college basketball. every year, the media was coming to do a story about that 1966 team. So it just made me, visualize basketball a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt like I'm a part of something that's bigger than me.
Right.
Um, once I got back to New York, it took me a while to really figure out what I wanted to do with my life and my career.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized that, I still wanted to be a part of the game. I loved working with kids. It was a natural fit for me to just get into coaching. And believe it or not, Tiny again was the person that really drew me into, grassroots basketball, AAU basketball. We started out in Brooklyn at a place called Mickey-O. It was a PAL center in Red Hook, Brooklyn. At the time, he was head coach at Lincoln and was running the Juice All Stars. And I was like, Tiny, I got a gym. Why don't we do something here in the gym? You could bring kids in. We could work them out. We could practice here. And it was at that time, I became a part of that, the Juice All Stars program with
Mm-hmm.
kids like Sebastian Telfair, Ramel Bradley, Eugene Harvey. I coached guys like, Corey Fisher, Malcolm Grant,
Yeah.
you know, Brandon, Devon Peterson. Like all those young kids were just coming through
Yeah.
the center,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fun.
Right.
It was fun being around the game. I was still fairly young. I was still playing a little bit, and then it just kind of progressed from there.
I feel you on that. Before we go any further, I got to give a shout out to the OG, Rod Strickland on here. Thanks for coming, OG. We got to get you on here, and shout out to my man Reggie Freeman. High five.
Oh my guys! Oh my
Man,
guys!
one of the best lefties I've seen. You know what I mean? Come through. He was on last week with Kenny Anderson. So appreciate y'all chiming in.
Yeah.
So how'd you make it over to New Heights?
Yeah, well, once I was introduced to the business of basketball in terms of grassroots basketball, high school basketball, college basketball, it's natural to always want to do more. Just to want to do more. And I started out as a coach. I started out as a trainer, and I just knew I had more to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Once I figured out that there was a career path in this, I was always looking to do more. So, once Anton Marchand, a close friend of mine, he was in music at the time, forged a relationship with Jay-Z, and he said, hey, we got this new sneaker coming out, the S. Carter sneaker,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to find a way to market it and promote it. And Anton said to him, "Hey, I got the perfect guy. We should start an AAU team." And he came to me with the idea, and I was all for it. It was a chance for me to kind of branch out, get out on my own, start my own program, and you know take a leadership role. I had developed tons of relationships with kids and families in the city by that point, and I felt like I was ready. We
Mm-hmm.
had a fifth grade team, sixth grade team, seventh grade team, and eighth grade team. We got together. The sponsorship was there. We our home base was Thomas Jefferson High School. Shout out to Bud and Shell. That was our home base. We practiced there 4 times a week, and had a great run. That team was loaded. I mean, we were loaded at every age group. And I think that's when people were saying, "Hey, this is a movement."
Right.
The kids had sneakers with their names on it.
Mm-hmm.
We had tons of gear, and our strategy was like, we're going to treat these fifth and sixth graders the way that many other programs in the city were treating the 17 and under teams.
Right.
So we were outfitting them. We were traveling at a high level. We were playing in national events. What young kid wouldn't want to be involved with a program like that? Um,
Absolutely.
and from there, it kind of took off. We won the eighth grade national championship. That was a huge, just a huge part of what we were trying to do. It was a great experience, and we felt like once we did that, we solidified ourselves as the next group of the top players and top coaches in the city at that time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you took that over to New Heights, and then you had stops. I think your first coaching job was at St. John's, I believe,
Yep, St.
in the
John's.
college, in the college game.
Yep.
Talk about that, because I think I think a lot of people, they want to be coaches, what I mean, or feel like they want to be coaches, but you didn't just jump in as an assistant coach, like you was the video guy, like what I mean. So a lot of people don't know, like you gotta start at the bottom and kind of work your way up, man. Shout out to Kareem Reed and Keith Stevens from Team Takeover on here,
Yeah,
man.
that's my man.
That's
That's one of my
yeah,
OGs.
yeah. Now one of the best coaches out there that
Absolutely.
I've seen. Keith Stevens is amazing. So thank you for coming on. Kareem Reed, another lefty out of New York City, man. Shout out to you guys for coming on. We appreciate you. So
Yeah.
take us through St. John's and what it's really like trying to get a coaching job in Division One.
Yeah, when we started, like when we started at Stock Carter and then moved on to New Heights, my goal was to never be a college coach. That wasn't my goal. I had a story with what I got involved in after college, and my only goal was I never wanted to be around young people when they make that same mistake. So that was my goal. My goal was to coach basketball, be involved in it at a high level, help these kids get to great high schools and great colleges, and I was fine with that. New Heights was a full-time job,
Mm-hmm.
not like many programs. I mean, I had full benefits. I had a
Mm-hmm.
salary. I
Yeah.
had a car stipend. I had it was fine for me professionally. I mean, we had
Yeah.
gone to the Adidas deal. I was in great shape. I never said, hey, I wanna coach in college. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but like anything else in life and your career, once you start doing it, it's a natural progression of just, all right, what's the next thing?
Right.
What's the next thing? And we would go to these tournaments. I told people this all the time. I've said it before in stories and through media. Like, I would go to these tournaments and I would see, guys that I played with in college, guys that I played against that were coaching in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that like it was something that they loved to do. It was something that kept them around the game, and obviously they could earn just create lives for themselves and for their families. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do anything else, that's probably the next step.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably just the natural progression to become a college coach. I'm in high school. I was a high school coach at the time. Shout out to Rice. Shout out to Mo Hicks.
Yeah.
Um, I was coaching in high school. I was running my own AAU program. We were doing it at a high level. We were traveling. We were being recruited. Guys in our program were being recruited by all the top programs in the country. So it was like, what is there left for me to do at this level? I felt like I had did enough. We had one of the best teams in the country. We had a lot of good players from the city that were being recruited at the St. John's, the Villanovas, the Marylands, Rutgers, Seton Hall, those kind of places.
Mm-hmm.
And when Norm offered me a position on his staff, I felt like it was a way in. I felt like it was a way in. Um, I felt like I had led those guys up to a point where their recruiting was all set. Um, they had all become good players, and it was time for me to take a step in my career.
Right.
I go there, and it was a lot more than I thought it would be. It
Mm-hmm.
was a lot. There was a lot more than I thought it would be. I thought it was one of those things where, hey, I got relationships. I know who the players are. I'm gonna just go get them, and we're gonna be in the Final Four in 2 years.
Yeah.
What I mean? That's
Yeah.
that's that's what you think. You
Yeah.
just think, hey, I know his dad, I know his mom, I know, I've watched them grow up, I've coached against them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how hard could this be? And you realize once you get to that level, how much it really takes to be good. And
Right.
all the responsibilities that come with being an assistant coach, the scouting, um, you know, unofficial visits, official visits,
Mm-hmm.
scheduling,
Yes.
um, mail outs. At the time social media wasn't as big, so you mail, like literally, like you mailing out letters, you're mailing out questionnaires, summer camp, teen camps. It was just a laundry list of responsibilities that came with being an assistant coach, and it was an eye opener for me being there that year.
Awesome. So now your next job you had was at Florida International. You went down there with Richard Pitino. How long were you there? Were you there for 2 or 3 years?
1 year, man.
That was it?
Yeah,
That
one.
was
I
it?
don't even know. I don't even know if we was there 1 year, man.
Man, I thought it was at
I don't.
least 2 years before he got the call to Minnesota.
Nah, man. That was the plan. That was the plan. I was at St. John's 1 year. Um, obviously, the family tragedy we went through.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I took a step back and said, hey, I gotta really just focus on my children right now, my young kids, and they were 6, 4, and 2 at the time, and I knew I couldn't, give the kind of, just the demands of being a college coach. We're trying to stabilize them, so we were out 2 years, 2 or 3 years. We were out 2 or 3 years. I just went back to New Heights, put my head down, started grinding. Yeah, we were out 3 years. So I just felt like over those 2 years, my kids got a little older. I felt like I was ready to jump back into college.
Right.
And as the story goes, there was a year when there were 11 college coaching changes in the metropolitan area. 11 between New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Right.
And at that time, I was letting it be known that I wanted to get back in college. I was letting it be known. Anybody got an opening on their staff, think I could help. So on and so forth. I got 3 interviews. I'm gonna say 3. I call it 2.5, but I'm gonna say 3. I got 3 interviews. I interviewed at Hofstra with Mo Casera. Shout out to Mo. Gave me an opportunity to interview with him. I interviewed at Manhattan. Shout out to Mass. Okay. Coach Macchiello. I interviewed with him, and I interviewed at Fordham with Coach Pecora. Shout out to Coach to TP. All great guys. All the mentors of mine. All guys that I consider friends in the business. But I didn't earn any of those positions, and I was disappointed. I really was. Looking back, I was disappointed. I was discouraged. And I didn't know what to do, and it's easy, in our position, and, it's easy to just kind of point fingers and blame and complain.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to do that, why I can't get in, why, so on and so forth. But, I just had great people around me that just said, look, Kimani, we gotta overcome this. It's something that we're not doing right. And when I had to look myself in the mirror, what am I doing wrong? Do people not perceive me as a college coach? Do people not perceive me as being serious about, getting to the next level? So, my thing was, look, I'm gonna go out and build more relationships. I'm gonna go out and attend more practices. I'm gonna meet more coaches. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna get better players and better teams and help put them in better college programs. I'm gonna show people that I'm ready to take that next step.
Absolutely.
And fortunate enough for me, the following year, Richard Pitino got the job at FIU. I had met him years ago down at the Florida team camp. Shout out to Rob Lanier. That's my man. He was an assistant at Florida, invited me down for team camp. That's how I met Richard. We stayed in touch through recruiting circles, and he always said, Kimani, when I get hired, I'm a hire you. He interviewed at Florida Gulf Coast one summer, didn't get the job. He interviewed at Iona, they hired Kevin Willett. The following year, he interviewed at FIU. He got the job, and he offered me a position with him, and we went down there.
Good. It was cool to hear that somebody's keeping their word in this game.
Yeah.
You hear so many bad stories in men's college basketball. It's good to hear that, you know, you can get in contact with somebody, they tell you something, and then all of a sudden it comes to fruition. So shout out Richard Pitino for
It's
giving you that shot.
yo, it's funny. It's funny when he got the job, I had almost forgotten that he promised to hire me. I really did. I wasn't
Mhm.
even like when Rob called me. Rob called me and said, "Hey, Kimani, you know, Richard got the job. I think he's gonna try to hire you."
Mhm.
And I wasn't even thinking that way. Um, you know, we were, you know, we were in a good group. My kids were doing well. I was doing well. You know, the first thing I said was, "Where's FIU?" I was, I was like, "Where's FIU?" He said, "Miami." I said, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah. Have to pass that up.
Yeah,
So, so you know, y'all at FIU, then y'all take the job out of Minnesota, have a good run at Minnesota. Danny Hurley gets the job at UConn and brings you back. What was that like? Was it a tough decision for you to leave Minnesota? Because again, I think you guys were there for like 5 years, and you
we
said, you
were there.
know,
Hmm.
your kids are in a groove, so you got your kids to consider too. It ain't just about you. You got three beautiful kids and they're comfortable and they got friends here and this is home. And now I got to take them to another situation. So explain that situation to everybody, you know, because, you know, you got to think about you, but again, you got to think about your kids as well.
That was tough, man. That one, that was that we still getting over that one. You know what I mean? We've been at UConn 2 years. We still, you know, we still getting over that one, man. And I thank Coach Hurley all the time. You
Mm,
know, the opportunity that Richard Pitino gave me, I could never repay him for it.
right.
I could never. I look back, you know, it was two people in that process that really helped me. Um, you know, even going back to FIU. The first
Mm-hmm.
person was obviously Rob Lanier.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Lanier, he made the connection. He was the one that really um, put his reputation on the line for me.
Right.
He stepped up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this guy's ready. This guy's gonna help you. This guy is the guy you need to hire. The
Mm-hmm.
second person in that process was Mick Cronin. And I'll tell you a funny story about Mick. Mick called me when Richard got the job, and at the time we had been trying to break down the barrier. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have been trying to, because it's common knowledge. You know what I mean? I had a you know, I had a record. You know what I mean? I was an AAU coach. I had run-ins on the AAU circuit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like this buttoned up, you know, guy that,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I was a street coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I you know,
Right.
I fought for my players. I fought for my program. Everybody knew that, so
Mm-hmm.
it was no secret. And I think that might have held me back a little bit, but so be it. But I remember Mick calling me, and he said, "Kamani, you know, Richard got the job, you know, at FIU. We're gonna push like hell to get you involved with the job, you know, and land you the job. You know, we got Rob Lanier, we got Billy Donovan, we got Rick Pitino, we got all these people that's vouching for you. Jay Wright, Buzz Williams, all these top coaches that's stepping up, writing, you know, reference letters and this and that, and we're gonna get you this job. But Mick said, Kamani, if we don't get you this FIU job, you're done. Ain't no other job we gonna be able to get you. If FIU don't hire you, like I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, this is, and it was reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
At that time, it was a liberal place. The AD understood. He got my story. You know, shout out to Father Mar from St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
He really stepped up and talked to the president on my behalf. So a lot of people, it really came to bat and helped me. So, you know, again, you know, with Richard, it was bigger than a boss, you know, employee relationship. You know what I mean? I knew that he had done something that gave me an opportunity to change my life. So when we got to Minnesota and the run we had, I I never thought about leaving Minnesota.
Right.
You know, I never thought about leaving. I never thought about it. It wasn't even I never went to the Final Four.
Right.
People, the first time I went to the Final Four was to go back to Minnesota to see Richard.
Right.
That was the first time I ever went to a Final Four. Anybody that
Right.
knows me knows I never went because I didn't need that. I never felt like I got to go to the Final Four and chase other jobs and chase this, chase that. No, I got a great situation. I'm with a young up and coming coach. Like I'm gonna be fine. Danny actually reached out to Richard.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't reach out to me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when he got the job here, he reached out to Richard and just said, "Hey, Richard, you know, I got this UConn job. You know, I want to talk to Kimani. What do you think?" And you know, the endorsement that Richard gave me scared Danny.
Mm-hmm.
The endorsement was so good. He was like, "Wait a minute. I've never talked to a head coach that has spoken about an assistant like this unless they're trying to get rid of him."
Right.
So he said, "Richard, are you trying to get rid of Kimani?" What? And Richard said, "No." He just said, I think the world of the guy. You know, he said if I was at UConn, he would be, you know, my first hire. If he was at a place like that that's so close to, you know, home and so
Mm-hmm.
close to the city and where he could utilize his you know, his relationships. You know, his conversation with Danny, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just really, you know, if there were any questions, if Danny wanted to hire me, I think his conversation with him, you know, got it done for me. So, you know, for me, it was tough to leave Minnesota, but it wasn't hard to take the UConn job.
Yeah. Now I get you. It's a great job. So take me through the recruiting process. So your reputation is, you know, your reputation. I'm sure Danny made that call because of your reputation here on the East Coast as a recruiter, as somebody who gets kids, you know, can buy into kids, played the game before. So talk about your reputation as a recruiter and take me through the process of identifying a player and trying to get that player to sign with UConn.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. For me, I'm a I'm an AAU coach masquerading as a college coach.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could put it. You know what I mean? Like I sat in homes. You know, I sat in homes. I sat in living rooms. I picked kids up. I dropped them off. I had, you know, I drove the van. You know what I'm saying? Terrell, I
Mm-hmm.
drove the van. Like I drove the van.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I washed the uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
that's what I did. That's my experience. That has gotten me to this point. I didn't, you know, I was a video coordinator. I
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
video coordinator. But you know, we laugh about that. I was a figurehead. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. No,
I
no
didn't,
doubt.
you know what I mean? I didn't grow up in the business of college basketball.
Right.
I remember, you know, promising parents, I'm gonna make sure your kid goes to a good
Right.
high school. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
you know, promising parents, I'm gonna make sure your kid gets to college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not gonna change with me.
Right.
You know, that's not gonna change with me. I can't, you know, all I know is just to be, you know, real, be honest. I'm gonna tell you what the opportunity is. You know, obviously growing up in the city and my relationships from playing and coaching and grassroots, that helps me because people can
Mm-hmm.
vouch, people can say, "Oh no, I know Kamani, he's a good dude or whatever, he's gonna do the right thing and he'll take care of you," so on and so forth. Um, you know, but I can't that's I mean, you know, that's all that's all it comes down to. It comes down to your relationships, you know, and you know, I always feel like no matter what, if I'm gonna have a long career in this business, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be because of my relationships in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the East Coast, and then we can branch off from there. I've recruited kids from Atlanta, I've recruited kids from DC, but it's all come from my relationships that were forged through grassroots.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's a big thing for me. I talked to my guy Terrell Myers, who's on here.
Mhm.
You guys just got one of his kids, Tyrese Martin, to come there.
Yeah,
We're
shout out
excited
to. I
about
called
that.
him last week. I
Yeah,
hope that
yeah.
ain't
He
a
told me he
violation,
talked to
but
you.
I called him last week. He knows I always touch base.
Yeah, he
Definitely.
told me that, man. He got a lot of respect for you. So one of my biggest things is I always feel like I grew up in the best times. You know what I mean? Like when we just played in the parks and, you know, our trainers were older guys and, you know, and stuff like that. I felt like the game was pure. I feel like in this era, you know, like social media has become a big, you know, a big thing, you know, with the sneaker circuits and stuff like that. So I want you to tell me about, you know, what do you feel like the biggest difference is today with kids compared to when you played? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it hard for you to be, because for me, I tell them all the time, I can't coach now because I need it done a certain way. And I don't, you know, do you find yourself catering or do you feel like, you know, you got a good place, you're in a good place with them because of how you are as a person?
Now, I tell you what, Terrell, like, I don't think, you know, I don't think kids have changed. You know what I mean? I don't think kids have changed. I think, you know, kids and families that about the right thing, right? That about the right thing, they still want to be coached. They still want to be held accountable. They still want to be disciplined. They still want to be pushed. And they still want honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I think the good ones, you know what I mean? You know, and you know, our jobs as you know, as grassroots coaches, as you know, high school coaches, as college coaches is to identify those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never won a recruiting battle for a kid that at the end of the day my values don't align with their values.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they could
Okay.
be talented. There could be a lot of things that make sense. But if their values, you know, from the kid, the family, their camp, don't align with my values as an assistant, the values of the program that I'm working for, I'm not going to get them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're not speaking the same language, you
Right.
know? And I just think that, you know, when I look back at you know, the guys that I played with coming up, there was no you know, the most you could have is your name in the newspaper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
the most you would have is your name in the newspaper. So like, it was hard to really develop a huge ego. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like you was going home, your mom's like, yo, check out the garbage. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Go do
Right.
your chores. Be
Right.
upstairs at, you know what I'm saying, when it get dark.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like there was no, you know, there was no place that you could go and look and say, I'm that guy.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
you know, I remember sitting with Kenny Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
This is a true story. He was about to go to Nike All-American camp. He was a sophomore going into his junior year. And we stayed up all night. All he kept talking about was how good all the other players were.
Mm-hmm.
He used to say, yo, Kimani, it's this kid in Louisiana, Chris Jackson. He's this, he's that. I can't guard him, this and that. And I'm looking at him like, you the number one player in the country. Like, there's nobody better than you. Nah, Kimani, I'm telling you, this kid, Terrell Green in Georgia, he's strong,
Yeah.
man. He's
Mm-hmm.
strong. I can't, yo, Jamal Walker, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, I can't, yo, Arnold Bernard, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's so strong. Like, this was the mindset of our era. We always, you know, we were respectful of our opponents, and he was still confident, but
Yeah.
he knew there was always somebody out there that was better.
Right.
You know, he knew he could be challenged.
I
And,
know.
you know, with social media now, that's hard.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of, you know, I think that's the thing. You know, so in 92, I went to St. Thomas More and I played with a kid, Steve Frazier.
Yeah, it's my man. I grew up with Steve.
Okay. So what we were
Steve had a
saying, I
big
talked,
head, though. Steve had
yeah,
a
he
big head.
did, but
Steve
he was
believed
nice
in
though.
himself.
He
He
was
was
nice
nice.
though.
Yeah.
So we were talking about like, there would be guys that we played against and we had no idea where we was going. It was about competition. So
Yeah.
if we lined up against you, I didn't know who was recruiting you. It didn't matter. But now, you know what I'm saying? But now, like, everybody, you know it, everybody's blessed to get an offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's blessed to get an offer. And, You know what I mean? Like, so now I'm able to see, like, damn, man, he got an offer from such and such. Now it's like, why I'm not getting that? You know what I mean? We didn't know it and we didn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just about who walked through the doors of our gym that we played in. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was about.
Shout out to Body Armor. Somebody asked me what was in my blue cup. Shout out to Body Armor.
Body Armor. Okay. So, you know, like that's kind of the things that I want to say. And then if you could talk about the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? Like, because now, you know, I might not know everything about it, but for me, it kind of goes in line with, are the kids making the right decision out of high school? You know what I mean? Is that what, you know what I mean? And then, like, what happened? We kind of knew, okay, I got recruited here. I'm just a freshman. I got to play behind somebody. So, you know, you wasn't really expecting to get on the court maybe until your sophomore year. So it's like kids leaving and then they're in the transfer portal. Like, kind of explain that to the people out there about the transfer portal, because I feel like with the grad students and the transfer portal right now, is making it super tough for these 2020 unsigns right now with the time that we're in. So talk to them a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, man. The transfer portal is a tough thing. I think there's a couple factors, man. You know, there's a couple factors. It's easy for somebody to say, hey, you know, kids are making bad decisions, you know, point the finger at kids and saying, you know, they're running from competition, or, you know, they chose the wrong school. They, you know, went to the level is too high. You know, I think it's somewhere in the middle. You know, I like to think in recruiting that it's your job to gather as much information as you can, and make a sound decision. You know what I mean? That's your job. That's your job for the kid, the family, and the coaches. That's why it's you know, it's important that you have a great support system, and you got sound people around you to help you make your choice. Now, on the other side of that, I think it's our responsibility as coaches to be upfront and honest. Players. You know what I'm saying? I can't. You good, Terrell?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good.
I can't sell you that in recruiting. I can't tell you, hey, you're gonna play 20 minutes as a game as a freshman, but I know I got a junior and senior ahead of you at that position.
Right.
That's a recipe for disaster. You know what I mean? That's a recipe for disaster, and that's on us. You know what I mean? That's on us as college coaches. Now the flip side is, like you know, everything we say in recruiting, everything that we lay out for you. I'm not going to use the word promise, but everything we lay out for you is contingent on you coming and doing what you're supposed to do.
How about that?
You know what I'm saying?
How about that?
Like, okay, you're a point guard. I have a senior point guard, right? So I see you playing anywhere from 20, to 15 to 20 minutes as a freshman. You're gonna play behind this point guard some. You're gonna play with him some. We're gonna play 2 point guards. We're gonna make it work because you're that good of a talent, and we gotta find ways to get you on the court.
Right.
Right. But if you come there and you're lazy, you know what I mean? You don't have a great attitude. You're not a self-starter. You don't want to work. You're not taking care of your business off the court. Then everything I laid out in recruiting goes out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like that's anywhere. Where do we do that? You know what I mean? Yo, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna do this. You have to do this. But you don't do this. Oh, nah, Kimani, you said. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Sure.
It doesn't work that way. And I think that, people, we all got to realize that. You know what I'm saying? We all got to realize that. Like, I look at, this, it's like high school. You know what I'm saying? Like in a lot of ways, it's like high school. there's some gifted players that have played varsity as freshmen in high school.
Right.
Some gifted players. But there's some players that may had to play freshman their freshman year, then they move up to varsity, you know what I'm saying, as a sophomore and have good high school careers. You might play 15 to 20 minutes,
Right.
you know, as a freshman. But then as a sophomore, you're going to play 20, 25 minutes. As a junior, you playing 25 to 28. As a senior, you playing 30 to 32, you know, in a winning situation. Like, you know, I just think it's a balance, you know, and so many kids, I think that, you know, they hit some adversity and, you know, they want to do something different, you know.
Right.
You know, I'll use this as an example. There's a kid in the transfer portal. Kid average, you know, close to 25 minutes a game, had a you know, a big role on a good team. They had a chance to be even better next year. And you want to grad transfer somewhere else.
Right.
Like, I could see if you leave in a lower level and you want to go to a higher level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done everything in your power for 4 years at a lower level. You always believed you should be playing at a high level. You've proven that. You know what I'm saying? You've proven that over your body of work. And you know what? I want to go push the envelope. You know what I mean? I want to go and see how I match up with, you know, the top, you know, top tier programs and the top tier conferences. I get that. You've done you taken care of your business. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You graduated in 4 years. For whatever reason, you had to sit out a year and you got 1 year, of eligibility left. I get it. I get it. But you at the highest level. You've been in a program 2-3 years. You have a role, and now you want to leave the known for unknown. I'm not sure if that's, you know what I mean, that's what we should be doing.
No question about it, man. And then I got some, you know, I have some parents and some kids that are on here watching. Talk about things that you're looking for in them. Like, I always, when I talk to kids and I talk to parents, I always talk about character first. Like, coaches want to see good character kids, and, you know, and with parents too. Like, I feel like coaches are looking at parents too. Like, you know, do I want that? We don't want that headache when things don't go right for your kids. So explain to the kids like what coaches are looking for, and explain to parents like it ain't just about you paying the money for your program, putting your kid on the court. Like, coaches are watching you too, that you're part of the package as well.
You know, people that know me, right? People that know me that's on here listening, they know that even at the grassroots level, I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. I've had parents, you know, go on tirades at games, after games. You're done. You're not playing for me. Just not. Because I know what's waiting at the next level. You know, I was fortunate enough to play in college and be a part of teams and be a part of organizations. At the time I was working, you know what I'm saying? So I was a part of a corporation, a company. Like, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, that's the beauty of sports and basketball, you know, specifically because that's, you know, the way we came up. Like, it just teaches you all the life lessons that you need to be successful as an adult.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So okay, you don't play as much as you want. You don't, you know, get as many shots as you want. You don't, whatever the case may be. And you're gonna make it about you. You're gonna make it about, I don't want you in the program. I don't, because I know what's coming after that. It never gets better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It never gets better. It gets worse. You know what I'm saying? It gets worse. And, you know, I was talking about this earlier with Bino. Like, there's a saying, right? You know, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I've been in college 8 years now. It's never been worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Any situation that I've been involved in, you know, as a coach at this level, where there were red flags, you know what I mean? And I've ignored those red flags. It doesn't get better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I look back and said, I should have, you know what I mean? I look back and say, I should have You know what I mean? I saw the red flags. I should have acted on it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I would, you know, what I would say to parents, like, you know, listen, I tell you what, man, I learned a lesson from one of my favorite players ever. Right, one of my favorite players in grassroots ever was Irvin Walker. He knows that. I love Irv. That's one of my favorite players, right? And I would work him out, right? I worked him out a lot. I coached him. I supported him. His dad, his mom and dad, they would bring him to the gym and they would sit there. I would work him out. They would thank you and leave. I go to games. They sit at games. They wouldn't say a word. They wouldn't say a word. They get in the car. Yo, Herb, you should have did this. You should have did that. Yo, you wasn't playing no defense. Yo, you got to be tougher, this and that. Like, it was never in public. Never in public. Never. I've seen him sit on the bench. I've seen him lose games. I've seen him, like, literally crying at games. Crying. His freshman year, he lost to Rice at the Gaucho gym. He cried after the game. Cried.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cried. Yeah. But his parents were not going to allow any circumstances that he was going through for them to get out of character or to show him, like, no, this is bigger than you. This is like, no, it was behind the scenes. It was parenting. You know what I'm saying? It was always done the right way. And I've seen the total opposite. And it never worked. Right. It never worked. Because people going to deal with you to a certain point. But after a certain point, they're not going to deal with you no more.
Right.
They're not going to deal with you, you know. And but to answer your original question, like what do we look for? And I get this question all the time, and it's a very simple answer to start. Talent. That's the first, like especially at our level. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to be good enough to play at UConn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be good enough to play at whatever level it is. Now, once you get past that, now it's about, okay, what kind of kid is he? You know, is he a worker? Is he serious? Is he committed? You know, is he serious? You know what I'm saying? Is he serious? Is he determined? How is he gonna show up every day?
Right.
Is he gonna be an energy giver? Is he going to be an energy taker?
Right.
You know, does he have reasonable people around him? We talk about this in recruiting. Right? Like literally, we talk about this in recruiting. Who are the people around him? Right. You know what I mean? Like we've taken kids that we felt like have tremendous upside, like they can become good players and become, valued members of the team, and we've taken them because we know the people that's around them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We've taken them because we know, like when he calls home and says, "Yo, I'm not playing. Coach is hard on me. Coach is this. Coach is that." They're gonna say, "No, coach is right."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That.
Yo, Terrell, Nate Mason, great player at Minnesota. Great player, right? Great player. All-time leading assists, second in assists, top 5 in scoring, led us to the NCAA tournament, first team All Big Ten. Great player. His mother and father was not having it.
Right.
They wasn't having it. Yo, coach this, coach, yo, this, that. Buckle up, man. Man up.
And you're better off for it.
Absolutely.
In retrospect. No doubt. So I'm going to get you out of here, Kay. And the one thing I like to do, I did it with Kenny last week, is I call this one possession. So I gave him 24 seconds because he was in the league. I'm going to give you 35 seconds on the shot clock to answer these questions. And here we go. So who was the best player you played against?
Against myself in college, Andre Miller.
Andre Miller, Utah, okay. Best player you played with?
Best player I played with, Stacey Castle.
Stacey Castle. Okay. And here's the big one. This is going to take you a second. Top 5 New York City all time.
Dag, we went
Rank
through this
them.
earlier.
Rank them.
First one,
I
Lou
don't even want you
Alcindor.
to say 5. You got to rank them. I want 1 through 5 or 5 through 1.
Lou Alcindor is number 1.
Thank you.
Hands down. Lou Alcindor, number 1.
God damn it. Damn, man. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go that. This thing only gives you an hour, man. We so locked in, man. I'm like, are you kidding me? And on that question, like, come on, man. So let's finish up. I gotta get this for everybody. So we said top 5. You said Lou Alcindor, number 1. Kenny Anderson, number 2.
I'm gonna go Pearl Washington, number 4.
That'll make my wife happy.
I'm gonna go with Pearl. I'm gonna go with Pearl 4. Okay. Then I gotta go Stephon Marbury. No, Pearl was 3. I gotta go with Stephon Marbury 4.
Okay.
5. Some bad boys, man.
Yeah, listen, New York.
It's some bad boys, man. I mean, you got Kenny Smith, you got Tiny Archibald. I'm gonna go with Tiny, man.
You gonna go with Tiny?
I'm gonna go with. He was an MVP, led the league in scoring and assists. My man, one of my high school teammates, he just shouted that out. He's right. That's my top 5. Is Lou Alcindor, Kenny A, Pearl Washington, Stephon Marbury, Tiny Archibald. I could live with that.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good with that, man. So listen, dog, I appreciate you coming on here, man. And, you know, I've been reading the comments, man. Like, I respect you as a coach, but obviously more than that, I respect you as a man. I respect you as a father and everything that you stand for, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I'm always watching from a distance. I will see you soon. And thank you to everybody for chiming into the Positive Impact Podcast with my man, Kimani Young, man. Appreciate you, fam.
Salute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.